I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show sounds a little bit ominous. The title is Swift, Silent Stealth. And the reason why there can be some very fast or swift but silent stealth going on right now is because there is a grand trine in fire signs, and the fire signs like action. They like moving fast. And yet, the planets that are in the grand trine are all being sorely aspected by other planets, so that beneath the surface there are other things going on, perhaps in a silent way or a very stealthy way. And you will have to be a little bit aware that this is a time of danger, and you should be very careful. Saturn is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules the courts and judges, and it rules foreign countries and all international bodies that deal with people in other areas, such as the United Nations, the World Court, or the World Bank, or the Monetary Fund. So those things can be under some sort of a burden, or there can be delay, or there can be hardship connected with all of those, because Saturn is a planet of very hard work and delay and even obstruction at times. But it's also a very stable planet. And so that planet is trining Jupiter in Leo. Well, Leo rules luck. Jupiter is a planet of benevolence and goodness, but it is going retrograde. And that simply means that there could be somebody whose luck is about to run out. Those two planets are trining the third planet in the fire sign, Uranus in Aries, and Uranus is direct, which is wonderful. But Uranus rules sudden change, and it rules rebellion, and it rules eccentricity and invention and everything that is electronic, and it rules aviation and the space field as well. So there can be sudden change in those areas that is somewhat unexpected and surprising, and that can create volatility. So those three planets, which are in beautiful trine to each other, have a little problem of their own. Each one of them has a little problem of its own. For instance, Jupiter in Leo not only is retrograde, so it's a little bit weaker, but it is part of four planets that are squaring and opposing each other in fixed signs. So Jupiter in Leo is being squared by the moon in Scorpio, and it is being opposed by Venus and by Mercury in Aquarius. That simply means there isn't enough money around, and nobody is going to budge no matter what. So there isn't a lot of give and take as far as financial matters go at all. People are sticking to their own point of view. So with four planets in fixed signs, it means that if you want to fight with somebody about money, this is not the time to do it, because you're not going to win no matter what. And it does mean that budgets are tight. Saturn in Sagittarius is being very harshly squared right now, and that can be where the trouble really originates from. And that is because Mars and Neptune in Pisces are conjuncting. They're very close together, and they are squaring that Saturn in Sagittarius. And in fact, Mars, the planet of passion, greed, envy, jealousy, and war, is at 2 degrees of Pisces, and it is precisely squaring Saturn at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. These two malefic planets are coming up against each other head to head, and that means that there's something going wrong in the world. But it can be something that involves a material or a business matter, because Mars is at 2 degrees, Saturn is at 2 degrees, Neptune is at 6 degrees. Even numbers always indicate material or business issues. And so these two planets are creating quite a bit of trouble for each other. And the reason why is that Pisces rules hidden enemies. That's why there can be stealth, or there can be something silent and swift going on, but it might not be for a very good reason. In fact, because Mars and Saturn are squaring each other, it simply means that somebody could burn or destroy or blow up a college or a university, certainly could attack a judge or the courts, or some sort of international body, some large international body. All of those things are ruled by Sagittarius, and it's the Mars and the Neptune together that can be so destructive and devious right now. So that planet's in a lot of trouble. And then Uranus in Aries is also being sorely challenged because the Sun and Pluto in Capricorn, which rule powerful people in government agencies or large corporations, are squaring that Uranus in Aries. And remember, Uranus rules rebellion and eccentricity, and it's in Aries, the sign of the pioneer, somebody who wants to do everything their own way. But somebody else is coming along and saying, no, you can't do that. So they're not going to allow a rebellion to continue, or they're not going to allow somebody to just do their own thing or do whatever they want. They're going to say you have to conform. And so that can be creating tension. So there's a lot of reasons why there can be some swift, silent stealth going on beneath the surface. And that's why we all need to be very careful this week. And another thing, though, that the reason why we need to be very careful is because if there is danger, I think it will happen very quickly. I don't think anybody's going to see it coming. And it could be extremely silent. It might even happen without us really knowing about it. We may learn later about the outcome of some sort of dangerous act. But the thing that's motivating that is strong feelings, and that is because the moon is in Scorpio, and Scorpio rules justice, and the moon is actually trining that Mars and Neptune in Pisces. And so it can be somebody who is wanting to administer justice that can understand who an enemy really is, who can see somehow behind the scenes and knows where the enemy is, and may decide, since feelings, remember the water signs rule our feelings, since strong feelings are running very deeply right now, it can be that they have the ability to administer a knockout punch against somebody who really has it coming. And also, despite any stiff resistance and despite very untrustworthy associates, that knockout punch could be delivered in a silent, swift, stealthy way. And sort of quietly without anybody actually even knowing that it's happening. But that's why you have to be careful this week. You may not know exactly who to trust, and for sure, I don't think you should believe everything you hear right now. And that is why we have to be extremely cautious. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, remember I said that Uranus in your sign is being sorely challenged by the Sun and Pluto in Capricorn, sort of 2 against 1 right now, Aries. And even though Uranus is being beautifully trined by the other planets in fire signs, each planet, including Uranus in your sign, is under severe duress or is weakened in some way, and they really can't be of much help, even though they're all trining each other. And so it can be that at the start of the year now, somebody in a position of authority, this could be in your work or in an organization that you belong to, may be insisting on you following the rules exactly, and they may be looking at a performance record of yours, or they can be looking at whether you sort of pass muster, in other words, whether you're actually doing all of the following all the policies of the organization. And if you are not, they are not going to let you continue doing whatever you want. They're going to want you to conform, or they can be checking your credentials to see if you measure up to the qualifications that are necessary, even for the position you still have, Aries. And so, you know, depending on that, they may require that you get additional training if you need it, or else they may decide to eliminate your position simply because you don't qualify for it, and they may transfer you somewhere. So there can be change. You're not going to like it, Aries, and that is because you don't like people telling you what to do. You have a lot of confidence in yourself. But this is a time when I don't think you can fight it either. And so you'll either have to conform and perhaps even face some sort of possible demotion, or realize you don't qualify for advancement, or else you'll have to take a little time out, start over, and get better training right now. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when if you decide to get real stubborn and dig in, particularly about financial matters, you will get nowhere, Taurus. And the reason why is there are already 4 planets in fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign. So Jupiter in Leo is squaring your sun. Venus, your own ruler, and Mercury in Aquarius are squaring your sun, and the moon in Scorpio is opposing your sun sign. So that means that there isn't enough money around right now. You may have spent a little bit too much money lately, or else the value of your investments could be going up in one way or another, and you may owe more taxes than you thought. And so I think you've got some sort of financial problems, but if you want to fight with anybody about it, you really won't win, because those planets are not going to budge an inch. And so their influence, everyone's holding on to what's theirs right now, Taurus. So you might want to do that too, because yours is a very possessive sign. But you're going to need to dig deep somewhere, Taurus, in order to come up with additional funds right now. And it really wouldn't be a good idea for you to fight over anything, because I don't think you're going to win, particularly with your ruler squaring your sun as well. So I hope you keep a smile on your face and rob your piggy bank instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, you really have to be very, very careful. And the reason why is that the malefic planets are hurting each other, and they're in mutable signs, and yours is a mutable sign. So Mars and Neptune in Pisces are squaring your sun sign. That isn't too good. That means you really can't believe what other people are telling you. And in fact, there can be malicious gossip behind the scenes, outright lies, either about you or somebody else. So you need to stay away from the rumor mill, Gemini. And even though your sign rules gossip, I wouldn't do that right now. It could be very dangerous for you. And then Saturn in Sagittarius is opposing your sun, and it will be for a few more years. And that can have an effect on your health. It could also mean that matters are at a distance are going to take a lot more work than you think. But this is just a time, because Mars and Saturn are exactly square each other, that you have to be very, very cautious. This is a week when you really should not talk to too many people if you can possibly help it. And you shouldn't set your expectations too high, because I don't think they will be met. Not because there's anything wrong with you, Gemini, but because other people have their own agendas. And remember, there is the possibility of stealth. Right now, you are not going to really realize who your enemies are, but I would say they're around, and you need to sort of keep to yourself this week. It's the safest thing for you to do, Gemini. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, the Sun and Pluto in Capricorn are opposing your sun sign, and that means that people in authority who make policy in large government organizations or in corporations are going to do whatever they have to do for their bottom line. They're not going to consider your tender feelings at all, Cancer. And so there is the possibility with budget cuts going into effect, and with people setting higher standards and becoming more competitive in business for a shrinking economy, that you may be displaced in one way or another. And so you just have to sort of face that and realize that, well, if there's budget cuts, maybe people are going to go for somebody who is a little bit more hard line in these tough times. And you're not, Cancer. You are a very sensitive individual. Lucky for you that the moon in Scorpio is trining your sun, and so are Mars and Neptune in Pisces. So that's wonderful. Okay, if suddenly you have a little extra free time on your hands, Cancer, because your job has been eliminated or perhaps just cut back, then you are going to be in a perfect position to make a dream come true, and I think the money is there for you to do that as well. The moon is your own ruler, and it is trining your sun sign. So forget people that have a lot of worries right now, or forget the people at the top, and concentrate a little bit more on your own heart's desire, because I think that there's money around, and that you can afford to head a little bit more in a direction that makes you happy, Cancer. And what are you waiting for? The time is ripe for you to simply make a dream come true if you want to. And this is going to be a year when we're going to be starting over. So the timing is excellent for that instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, remember I said that Jupiter is in your sign and it's part of the grand trine in fire signs. That's great, except that Jupiter is retrograde right now, which can weaken it. And also it is running up against a lot of challenges because Venus and Mercury in Aquarius are opposing Jupiter in your sign, and the moon in Scorpio is squaring Jupiter in your sign. That means that there is the possibility that your luck might be running out right now, Leo, and that's because there isn't enough money around. And so if you're wanting to get some extra financing, it may not happen now. Or you may have missed some deadlines recently, and that's too bad because then you'd have to wait even longer. You have to get back in line and try something again, maybe next year. And so that's what I mean by your luck running out. I think that there are some things that are now a little bit too late for you to pursue, Leo, and so you need to narrow your focus a little bit. The grand trine in fire signs is still holding. You can move forward, perhaps not as fast as you would like, but there are going to be financial challenges and you need to face them. This is also a time, remember, of swift, silent stealth. And I don't think it's among the people that are your known enemies. It can be among people who appear to be victims, only they're not. So don't trust everybody right now, Leo. And remember, although yours is an optimistic and generous sign, this is the time to be a little bit more cautious if you can be. And you still have other things that you can do. You are particularly well aspected to start over on something. So dust off your dreams, Leo, and give something another try, but it's going to have to be on a smaller budget. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think you have to be really, really careful, Virgo. If ever there was going to be a week when you should stay in the shadows and not be seen at all and not make yourself a target, it is this week. And the reason why is that Mars and Neptune in Pisces are opposing your sun sign, Virgo. There's nothing in your sun sign, but they are opposing it, and they are malicious and deceitful. And Saturn in Sagittarius is squaring your sun sign. Mars and Saturn are also squaring each other. There is trouble around, and it could be a little closer to you, Virgo, than you think. And it could be something that is beyond your control, but I also think it could be somebody who is malicious, who is pretending to be a victim when actually all they want to do is have you lower your defenses so that they can be in a position to attack you instead. And that is why you mustn't make yourself a target this week, because you'd be inviting trouble, Virgo, and that is why you should keep as quiet as you can, keep a real low profile, stay in the shadows, and, you know, have a nice silent week, Virgo. You will be very, very happy about that, because if you are a target, you could get hit pretty hard this week, and that is why I think you need to take extra precautions to be safe if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when somebody could insist that you really follow the rules and regulations, because the Sun and Pluto in Capricorn are squaring your Sun, and Uranus in Aries is opposing your Sun sign. Okay, you might have to conform to every little nitpicky rule that somebody is coming up with right now, and you could get real tired of somebody almost picking on you. Well, you know, take it with a grain of salt, Libra. Realize that you may not be doing anything wrong. It might be somebody else is just in a really bad mood and you can't charm them out of it. But on the other hand, Libra, you're sort of lucky too. And that is because Venus, your own ruler, along with Mercury, are in Aquarius trining your Sun, which is great. That means as long as you focus on the future and as long as you socialize and you network and you talk to other people that are interested in new things in the future, you are going to do just fine, Libra. So I wouldn't try to let your hurt feelings stop you from heading in a new direction, or at least talking to people who are thinking of going in a new direction, because you might be able to go with them. And I think that would make you feel wonderful. So just don't listen to those people that are nitpicking this week. Try to avoid them if you can, and really head towards your future while it's looking pretty good. Doors will open. All you have to do is go knock on them. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, if it isn't you that is able to administer that knockout punch to someone who really deserves it, you would at least be able to see who that person is, even if they were being very swift, very silent, and very stealthy. You would still be able to know who it is that's causing a big problem behind the scenes, or who has malicious intent right now. The reason why you'd be able to see that is because the moon is in your sign, and it is trining Neptune and Mars in Pisces. And that's a very good aspect, but Mars is your own ruler. Your other ruler, Pluto, is in Capricorn along with the Sun, and it is sextiling your Sun. You are in a very good position to understand who deserves a little justice and who doesn't. And so you can have very strong feelings which are running pretty deep right now. And whereas I actually don't think it's you that's going to be administering the knockout punch, you could at least see where the trouble is coming from, and you may see some justice being done, and very, very quietly you may end up with a smile on your face as somebody does get what they deserve. But I don't think you're actually going to be talking about it very much, and that is because Scorpio rules secrecy. So no matter what you know, I don't think you're going to be telling anybody about it, Scorpio, but you may be somewhat satisfied if someone receives a knockout punch that they really deserve. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, you need to be very careful right now, and that is because somebody could come along, and it could be an organization. It could be a complete stranger. It could be something that comes electronically around you or to you, and it could really zap you, Sagittarius. Or the other possibility is that you have been kidding yourself for a very long time about a destructive habit of yours, which has now overtaken you. And that is possible, and that is because Pisces rules hidden enemies, but it also rules the way we kid ourselves about things that we can be in denial about, and it also rules alcoholism, drug addiction, and sexual promiscuity. And so those kinds of things with Mars there could be challenging you right now, Sagittarius, and it can be that you're a little too dependent on somebody or something, and you need to break that habit. And this could be a signal that something is not right in your life, that you may not be in complete control of everything in your life anymore. There's also the possibility that you could be feeling burdened by debt. And that is because Saturn was in Scorpio for 3 years right behind your sun sign, and Scorpio is a financial sign, and Saturn is a heavy-duty planet, and now it's in your sign. And so if you didn't attend to financial matters in the last 3 years, you could be burdened and weighed down by them. And that is why this is a period of either danger, or this can be even a period of sadness for you, and you need to really hang on right now, Sagittarius. And if there is something that you have grown too dependent upon so that it's more or less ruling your life, you've got to get help. And you can do that. Saturn is actually a very strong planet. Nothing is actually going to knock you over in the next 2.5 to 3 years, but you can be very sorely challenged now. And that is why you need to be as careful as you can and try to seek help and get guidance if you can, Sagittarius, because there is still a grand trine in fire signs. You can start over and succeed at it if you give it a go. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time with the Sun and Pluto both in your sign, Capricorn. It simply means that you can be really right about something, and it can be something that has to do with policies or procedures or things that have to be done in a methodical way, almost a bureaucratic way or in an administrative way. And you are exactly right. And on top of that, somebody who's even higher than you agrees with you on that. But there are no planets in the other Earth signs. You're on your own, Capricorn, and Uranus in Aries is squaring your sun. So somebody is being really rebellious or wants to do everything their own way. And you're going to have to insist on them following the rules. They will certainly fight you on that, or else they will rebel and go their own way. But you can't back down either, Capricorn. Just try to be as tactful as you can, because you don't have a backup. And that is why you need to be quietly assured. But you don't need to overdo it either if you can help it, okay? All right, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when you can be absolutely charming and know exactly the right thing to say to everybody, because Venus is in your sign and so is Mercury. So no matter what you say, it's going to sound wonderful right now, Aquarius. So does that mean you're going to get your way? Unfortunately not. And the reason why is money. Aquarius, it isn't that people don't want to say yes to you. Certainly when you're being really charming, they do want to say yes to you, but there's no money to back that up. And that is because the moon in Scorpio is squaring your sun sign, where you have Venus and Mercury, and Jupiter in Leo is opposing your sun sign. With 4 planets in fixed signs, budgets are tight, too tight. So no matter how charming you are right now, Aquarius, and you are very well liked, there isn't going to be enough money for you to do what you want, and you're going to have to downsize right now. And so I hope you keep a smile on your face, because we all just are going to have to live with reduced budgets this year. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, there can be danger for you. You might be really mad right now and have that anger buried deep within you. Or you could be feeling like you can't wait any longer, because remember, Mars is in your sign along with Neptune, and you could be very impetuous and simply want to overdo it right now. The moon in Scorpio is trining your sun. There is an element of justice being done in your life somewhere, Pisces, and that can be okay as long as you've been paying attention to financial matters. Maybe they're getting better now, and maybe you're free of some financial debt and you are feeling like you want to be supercharged and go on your way. I advise you to wait a little while, Pisces, and the reason why is that the planets in your sign are being squared by Saturn in Sagittarius, and Saturn is backed up pretty well. There's a grand trine in fire signs. And so if I were you, I would wait until things stabilize a little bit. And this is such a dangerous time that it is you that has to be super careful, that you don't say too much, that you are not around people who are lying or malicious, that you don't walk down a dark alley, because you could be attacked. And you would not even see it coming, Pisces. That's why you have to be really, really careful. And this is a week when you should lay low. I hope you do. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.